Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a Christmas ornament and especially a Christmas singing tree or a singing Christmas tree. And here's in the camera you'll see this is a version I did quite a few years ago. And you'll notice that we even cut through here to give the illusion of his mouth being open and giving it some action there. So I thought this would be a great project for us to tackle. And this is about 6.5 inches long by about 3 inches wide or 4 inches wide and about 1/2 inch thick wood. And you'll need a V-tool, you're going to need a knife. So let's get started and make sure safety first and make sure you have your glove on. And we're going to take a V-tool here and we'll try to leave this Christmas tree in the view here where you can see him a little bit here, the finished one. And so we're going to start right up here at the star with our V-tool. And of course, this is any size of V-tool that you're comfortable in using. This is about a 1/4 inch V-tool. And all we're doing here now is just outlining the brows of the tree. And later on, we'll put in the kind of the cartoon looking eyes that he'll have. And we want to especially make sure that the eyes look like he's trying to hit a high note. And so all we're doing here is just giving us a guide for our knife to go through here in just a little bit. Now again, here at the bottom where the base of the tree is, make sure that this is lower. This is set back behind the tree when you relieve this after a while, okay? And so we're just going to take our V-tool up through here and just make these cuts in to represent the brows of the tree. All right, so now let's take our knife and we're going to make stop cuts now on the areas where we took our V-tool. And then we're going to undercut and start shaping the brows of the tree. I have to pick this up a little bit where I can get better control. And remember, always learn to turn your wood to where you can get the most safest cut. Okay, so now we've got almost all of our cuts in. We need to come in here and put in the cut at the bottom of the tree where the base will be. Of course, we have a star up here. And so now basically what we're going to do, we're going to just start here on the star part and just taking the sharp edges off and hopefully bring this thing to life. And get rid of the bandsaw cut marks on the side, because that will, if you don't get rid of this, it will affect the way when you paint this. All those little lines will show up where the blade went up and down, cutting the piece, and it will make the carving look not very good. So we want good clean cuts in here, because that way your paint will absorb and do well. And leave it rough, you know, like this here. I'm leaving little divots in here. That just makes part of the ornament look handmade, because we don't want it to be plastic looking. And see, if you even break off the edges like that, just trim them back and don't get all bent out of shape if something, you know, edge of the star breaks off there. Again, always pay attention. Again, safety first is very important, because you're working with such a small piece of wood here. Always make aware of where your knife is going, because your fingers is not too far behind it. So now we're going to take our knife and start shaping the brows of the tree, going right underneath here and getting rid of all those bandsaw marks. Again, making sure of your cuts. And start stair-stepping some of your cuts here. You'll see here, start tucking stuff under the brows underneath the other brows here. And we're going to get this star to stand out a little bit. Now right here, we've got to show the edge of the star, so I'm using a rocking cut here. I'm taking my knife and going right up through here. And then as you go, as you're cutting here, remove the surfaces of the bandsaw cut here. Make sure your tools are good and buffed and ready to go where you make good clean cuts. Now, we drew the face on here. Of course, we're going to have to draw the face back on a little bit, but we're going to come in here and remove this surface of the surface where we can carve the eyes in, because we want to remove all this surface. This takes a little time, but this will be a great heirloom for you to pass on down. It always brings a smile to someone's face. Again, as you're holding it, you want to be careful, like here, where my right thumb is, I'm pushing kind of hard, so don't be careful not to break off the edges of your brows of your tree. And again, if it happens, well, just go in and reshape it, but try not to if you can. This takes a little time. And there will be a pattern for this in the description of the video. Again, this will be a pattern. The pattern will be available in the description of the video. See how we're stair-stepping these brows? That way it looks natural. It's a pine tree wood or a evergreen, whatever. Now all this is going to take work in here, and so you know, to save time, probably I'll just wait to do those at the very last. But I want to give you the gist of this here. And it's important that you get all of the cuts that's underneath here. As you can see, the bandsaw marks, they are need to come out, all right? All right, now let's come in here and start shaping the tree here. The trunk of the tree. And start making those cuts that comes up right up to the base of the tree here. So if it starts to tear on you, what do? We stop and go the other way. Like this piece right in here is kind of be ornery. And again, you know, just make it work for you the best you can. And if it starts looking rough in there, well, you know, a tree is kind of rough looking. And but try to smooth it up the best you can, because when you go in here with your paints, you can dress it up. You can sometimes cover up some so-called mistakes with your paints, and it's just part of it. Don't get bent out of shape if things don't work out. It's just a piece of wood. Cut out another one. Keep trying, keep trying. Now, you may not want to put in these brows like I have, and but that's okay. It's your tree. You do whatever you like. Okay, now let's come in here and make this a little deeper right in here. Start turning some of these brows that way. Make it look like it's going right to the back of this other side of the tree. Make that all flow. Give me a little longer bladed knife there where I can get in there a little bit better. Now we're going to take like a 3/4 flat gouge, or any gouge that you have, and we're going to remove the surface. And even though we're going to take off the eyes and everything, we can redraw all that back on. So I just want to clean this up a little bit. So you'll notice right there, just show you beginners, notice how I went in and it's starting to tear. So what you need to do is come back and go the other way and remove that wood that way, and that way it doesn't tear on you. So the grain is flowing good for me here with this gouge. And also too, you can use this to get right there and just keep rounding things. And we keep on just moving across here. And using this flat gouge, or semi-flat gouge, to clean up the surface of the wood. We don't realize how dirty the wood can get until you start taking the surface of the wood off. Now, try to remind yourself to get rid of any flat surfaces, you know, especially like this, anywhere in here, you know, because the tree is not flat. It's got all kinds of action going on because it is a tree. It is not stoic to a certain point. It goes every which way its brows do, and its limbs. And sometimes you can even turn your tool over, it's on its backside, and use it to shape things, whether it's on a character carving or in relief carving. All right, let's stop and look at it here. Okay, now I think we're about to the point to where we can come back and draw in the facial features for the singing Christmas tree. But now, you'll notice we won't take time to do this on our filming today, but I'll do this off camera. But cleaning up the edges is very important too with your knife and on the star here. And so we'll do that on off camera. So now let's move on here to creating the facial expressions of this guy. And so we're wanting to put, these are just cartoonish eyes looking, and all you're doing is coming in and drawing a frontward C and a backward C. And I'm going to make mine just a little bit narrow right there. And you may have to erase and try it again. And so that will kind of give you an idea. Of course, your paint will create the eyeball and the iris and all, or the iris and the pupil looking up and singing. And then right here will be the nose. Now, I want to show you here what I use for the nose. You can get these at your local hardware store. These are buttons that you would use to cover up a nail hole or a dowel hole or whatever. And I'll put it up here to the deal, but I usually glue one right there on the nose. Now if you want to, you can carve your nose on there if you'd like, but anyway, so that kind of gives you an idea of how we create the nose there for that. All right, so now we're going to come in here and create the mouth area. And again, this is going to be an exaggeration, and this will be the upper lip. And let's see, let's come up here a little ways. This will be the teeth right here. And like so. It's going to be the bottom lip. Okay. Now all this here has to be removed, all through here. And what we're doing is we're going to put a hole through here to where you can take your knife and cut all this out. So, okay, so we're going to take our U-gouge here. Now you can either drill your hole with a drill or whatever, or you can just take a good size U-gouge and come through here and just back and forth, creating a hole here to where you can get your knife, or like I said, you can drill it through. And be careful, you might want to have a board underneath this here, that way your knife or U-gouge or drill or whatever you're using doesn't go in through your table, or if you're carving at your kitchen table, you sure don't want to do that. Okay, and so now I'm going to pick it up, and that way I can just ream that through there, just like a drill. Again, like I said, drill would be a lot faster, but sometimes you may be in an area where you can't have access to a drill. Okay, we're starting to see a little bit of light there. Make sure your thumb and finger is not there, so I see an opening. So now I'm going to come back through this way, and I'm going to bring my hole out there. There we go. All right, so we got us a hole. So now what we're going to do is outline where the teeth will be. This is going to take a little time in here to remove all of this out. Okay, so we're going to take some time here and remove this off, and then we'll come back and start working on the teeth. Okay, so we're back with the carving of the mouth done. We've got the hole open here where he can have his mouth open, really exaggerating his mouth and his features there. So let's work on now the upper lip. And you can make the upper lip as big as you want, and so that's just up to you. Make sure you put in the separation here between the upper lip and the teeth here. This is going to be the bottom lip. Now again, this is just not a actual character face. This is kind of a cartoonish face, but and we're relieving here with our knife to create that lip area where it'll stand out more away from the tree. Okay, now I'm going to take my knife and put a stop cut here on the upper lip and where the teeth, the top of the teeth would be. Put a cut along the side here, the side of the teeth. And I'm going to make a cut right on around the dental mound. Now I'm going to take my knife and relieve the teeth to where it's setting back in the mouth. And just take your time through here. Okay, now we're going to come in here and just start rounding and shaping the bottom lip. Make sure there's no flat surfaces on the lip itself. Okay, see how that softened that up. Now you can go as deep as you'd like right in here. If you want, let's go just a little bit deeper right in there. Oh yeah, look at there. That helped that. All right, now then the upper lip, we're going to set it back just a little bit. Take our knife. And round that upper lip off. All right, come in here and just start softening the features again. Even on this tree here, we don't want any sharp edges because he is a Christmas tree or this type of particular tree. And come up here and do the star, show some depth there. You can take one star and turn it back a little bit, if you'd like. Up to you, it's your tree. Okay, now let's put in some separation of the teeth. You can do it with a V-tool or with a knife. Okay, so we're going to put a tooth, one right there and one right there. And so all you need is put two marks in. And so we're going to dress up this tooth a little bit there. So we're going to take our knife and show some separation there. And you can even go all the way back here if you wanted to, and underneath here, and do the same thing. And to show some action. Yeah, that's funny. Sometimes I crack myself up just by sometimes what I carve. I'm like, oh, goodness. All right, now we're going to take a small V-tool, oh, like a 3/16 or whatever. V-tool fits in your hand well, and all we're going to do is outline the eye area here. Again, always pay attention to where every tool you're using, where it's going. Okay, so we do the other eye. All right, we got one eye a little bit bigger than the other. So let's come in here and dress that down a little bit by taking off some of the fatness of the eye. And we can come in here and come down a little bit more. There we go. All right, so now you're going to take your knife and you're going to put a stop cut all the way around what you just V-tooled to represent the eye. Now just use the tip only of your knife. And now I'm going to take my knife and start taking off the surface part of the eye. And kind of leaving a high center there for you to paint the eye, if you'd like. And you know, you can take now your V-tool and create the iris area where he's like looking up, if you'd like, something like that there. Because the eyes are what's going to draw you to this guy. Okay. Now again, you can carve these eyes flat if you'd like and just paint them without carving anything in there you like. But I think the more you can put detail to your carving, the more fun it's going to be for you and also for others to enjoy. But one thing too, I want to encourage you in is do not show, when you get a piece done, you're showing someone your work. Don't show them your mistakes, what you think is a mistake. 99.9% of the time, people are not going to see your, what you'd call goof ups. And so don't be showing people things like that. Just let them enjoy the piece. And don't be so critical on your work. Yes, work at it, you know, be the best you can be at whatever you're doing, but don't be so hard on yourself. Again, it's just a piece of wood. And taking our V-tool now, coming in and putting in our little line there. Because then this would all be painted in here, see? This would be white, and this would be your blues or whatever color you'd like for them to be. And so then the last thing we need to do is come in here and just put in your stress lines for him, the tree that's standing on, you know, growing out of the ground, you know, the trunk of the tree. So just take your V-tool and put in these little grains of the wood, so to speak. take your knife and remove all those little places there where you went up with your V tool. Clean those out. Make sure, because again, if you don't get these cleaned out, it's going to affect your paint brushes and your painting is going to look rough, and that will be a distraction. People will notice that now. So make sure you get all your little fuzzies out and all your little V cuts out, wood that's left up underneath, whether it's the hair or anything like that there. And you know, you can come in and you can distress this guy all you want. Now, again, these little buttons here, you can get them at your local hardware store. I call them filler buttons that you can cover up a dowel hole or a nail hole. And so anyway, you can put eyebrows up here on him, paint those eyebrows on, but isn't he fun looking? So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this project today, and like and subscribe and hit the bell, and we'll see you real soon, and happy carving.